Hey guys, it's Mr. Dugal, and today we're going to talk about combining like terms. When we talk about combining like terms, we're talking about given an expression like this, which of the terms would fit together? So we have 5x squared, 3x, 4x squared, 9, and 4x. Do those all combine? How does this all work? I think in order to illustrate combining like terms, we're going to talk about a story. So the story is this: Mr. Dugal's at a grocery store, and in his cart he has a group of oranges, a group of apples. Full disclaimer, Mr. Dugal is not an artist, so these are going to look like very rough apples and oranges. And he also has some bananas in his cart. So he has apples, oranges, and bananas. You notice that Mr. Dugal has one set of 5 oranges and another set of 4 oranges. You also notice that Mr. Dugal has a set of 3 apples and another set of 4 apples. And finally, you notice that Mr. Dugal has a bunch of 9 bananas. And when you ask Mr. Dugal how many oranges he has, he counts his 5 oranges and his 4 oranges. And you expect him to stop and tell you that he has 9 oranges. The problem is that he doesn't stop. Mr. Dugal continues to count his apples. So now he's at 12, and his other set puts him at 16, and he also counts his bananas. By the time he's done counting, Mr. Dugal tells you, I have 25 oranges. You would look at Mr. Dugal and think, Mr. Dugal, you're crazy. You only have the set of 5 and the set of 4. You don't have 25 oranges, you have 9 oranges. And you have 7 apples. And you have 9 bananas. You have 25 pieces of fruit total. But Mr. Dugal, you can't count the apples when counting the oranges. And you can't include the bananas when counting the oranges either. These are separate. These are separate pieces of fruit that cannot be combined. That is exactly how combining like terms works. Think of your x squareds as one separate piece of fruit, 9x squared. Think of your x's without the x squared as another piece of fruit, your apples. And finally, think of your numbers. Numbers, by the way, are called constants. Think of your constants as another separate piece of fruit. Individually, these are all called terms. They're all different terms, just like they're different pieces of fruit. To do one more example, together we'll call this 6x squared. We'll say 5y this time. We'll include another variable. We'll say 3x. We'll subtract this time. We'll say minus 2y plus 5. So when we look at these, we have, to use our example from last time, 6 oranges. And actually, those are the only oranges that we have. So we have 6x squared. We have a new piece of fruit with the y. We didn't label that last time, but let's call our y's this time, we'll call them grapes. So they're purple grapes. We'll call them purple grapes since we already have an apple. So we have 5y. And when I look through my expression, I notice that I also have 2 more grapes. What's important to notice is that these 2 grapes include the minus sign, whereas these 2 grapes included a plus sign. So this total grapes, we have 5y minus 2y. In terms of our apples, we have 3 apples, 3x. And finally, to go back to our bananas, we just have 5. So that's our full expression after we combine like terms. We can write it out that we have 6x squared for our oranges. We have 5y minus 2y, which would give us 3y for our grapes. We have 3x for our apples, and finally 5 for our bananas. This is our answer after we combine like terms. Hopefully thinking of fruit and thinking of the grocery store example will help you as we go along combining like terms.